I started working at Sharp Mary Birch Hospital on January 25th, 2016. I was actually employed by Sharp Steely Medical Group to deliver their babies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night. And so I was very excited. I think the doctors are amazing at Sharp Steely Medical Group and also at Sharp Mary Birch. And I was really enjoying. This was probably something that I felt was a perfect job for me, but unfortunately the nurses started harassing me starting around March 15th. And
can you let me ask you a question so that way how long you've been a doctor, first of all?
I've been a doctor since 1986 in America, and a doctor in India since 1981.
Very well. So you worked somewhere else previously?
I had my own practice for 15 years, and then when the insurance companies started decreasing our reimbursement and there were lots of issues with management interfering with our medical care, I decided to give up my practice and do social work. And I started a women's clinic in Nepal and also started some clinics in India. And then I decided to come back in 2007. I sold my practice in 2006. I came back end of 2007 and started to do some locum work. And so I worked in several different states in the country, as well as in American Samoa. And I've done a few other positions. Since 2010, I have worked as a laborist in different hospitals.
Okay, so now why are you on strike?
I am on strike because since March 15th, the harassment that I was facing from the nurses and the hazing got too much for me until June 2nd in the morning. I was not allowed to see my patient by the nurse that was taking care of my patient. On April 20th and 24th, I informed the nurse management about it, and she said she would fix the problem. And I told my boss about it also, and he said that it's been going on for several years. The harassment and hazing has been going on for a long, long time at Sharp Mary Birch Labor and Delivery. I asked a few of the female doctors, and they said, yes, this has been going on for a long time. The female doctors have been harassed and hazed. One of the doctors was harassed and hazed for 2-3 years. And another one of the other female doctors told me that she had been here 25 years and she's been harassed for 25 years, especially in front of male doctors, that the nurses always take good care of the male doctors and always serve them, but the female doctors are always harassed. So at that time, on April 24th, I was told by a nurse that not to break the water bag of my female patient, of my patient. And she told me that she was a patient advocate and she would not allow me to break my patient's water bag. She also told me how to manage the patient, and that really frustrated me because I feel I'm the physician. I've had 20 years of training, whereas a nurse only has 2 years of training for her to be able to tell me that she's a patient advocate. And I questioned her. I said, so do you think we doctors are criminals? And she did not reply to that. Instead, she went on to tell me how I should manage the patient. And at that point, I decided I would resign. But at that time, my boss told me to meet Lindsay Perry, who is the head nursing manager. And she told me that she would fix things. And 1-2 days, things got better, and then things went on the same scenario again. One of the nurses ordered a very risky medication on a patient, and I wasn't even at work. And she gave this medication to the patient without informing me. I was not even on duty, but she put my name as the ordering physician. And when I told management about that, they decided to hush it up by firing her. And with her termination, all the nurses decided, especially the Caucasian nurses, they decided to gang up against me and made a promise that they would harass me. And one of them was this nurse's friend, best friend, Donna, who decided that she would harass me the most. And every time she had a patient of mine, she made sure that she would not do whatever I instructed her to do. Like if I would tell her to let me do a C-section on a patient, she would tell me I was wrong, and she would tell the patient that no, you don't need a C-section, and then she would delay everything by 2-3 hours. and one of them was in fact a physician patient. I told the patient that a baby is not coming out the right way. And not only I had told her that, but her own doctor and another doctor told her that. And this nurse, Donna, told her, no, 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 I can change everything. I have 15 years experience. And 2-3 hours later, I went back and the patient was still not changed. And Donna said to me, oh, you know, I've never had an exam like this before. I said to her, then you must learn to trust the doctor. You've just delayed her C-section by 4 hours. But every single patient, it became a hassle for me. I always had to almost do what they wanted, and when I refused, they would not allow it to happen. One of the times the patient needed Pitocin and the nurse refused to start it. For 1 hour, I kept on giving them my reasoning, and they still would not start the medication so that she would go into labor. And I had to get in a male doctor as an anesthesiologist to convince them to listen to me.
How is that possible in a big hospital such as this?
Because the nurses have a union, and so the administration is scared of nursing, and so decide to follow what nurses do because they have a problem with getting nurses to stay. They have a high turnover rate because they don't pay as well as Kaiser. And so a lot of the nurses are new, and some of the senior nurses who have been there for more than 3 to 4 years, they have this authority position where they are even senior to doctors. They tell us when we should do what we should do. In fact, on April 24th at 3 a.m. in the morning, the charge nurse told me, why are you here? You should just sleep in your room. If we need you, we will call you. I said, that's not what I'm hired for. I'm hired to take care of my patients. And I have 25 years of experience, and I'm here for their sake. I'm not going to sit in the room. And then I said, who are you to tell me I should be in my sleeping room? I should be here taking care of patients. That's what I've been hired for.
So the doctors do not have unions?
The doctors have no unions at all.
How come doctors, all of them, don't? If they're experiencing this, why aren't they doing something, a strike together? Why are you by yourself?
They cannot strike, because if they strike, they'll lose their job. Like I was told on a weekend that I lost my privileges here. I couldn't work here anymore, and that I'm a terrorist. I'm a terrorist, that I would harm my patients. I have been doing social work protecting women against violence for so many years. I have terrorists who come to me that I transform them to become good human beings. I have not even killed an ant. How can they call me a terrorist and tell me that I cannot enter the hospital? So they invited me to a meeting on June 7th, and when I went to the meeting, there were 20, 30 doctors. And I realized from them that they were so scared of me for raising the issue of harassment that they wanted me to leave. And the doctors called me at night and told me that even we want you to have a psychological evaluation because you did a strike, you did a hunger strike, you're mentally insane and you're harmful for the patients. So, and then they told me in addition, even if I get a psychiatry evaluation, they would declare me insane, that I would probably fail and I would never be able to come back. So at that time I realized they were all cruel people. They were not people who really cared about doctors. They can get a lot of doctors, but they cannot get nurses. So I decided to resign, and they threatened that they will tell the Medical Board of California that to take away my license. So I called Medical Board of California. They said in 25 years we have never had a complaint against you. Even now the hospital doesn't have a single case against you that I have not managed a patient properly. In fact, today I received a card from a patient how thankful she was for taking care of her. So in my 25 years of practice, I haven't had a single lawsuit.
So how come, how come you didn't take this the legal way? Why didn't you fight back?
So I talked to Dr. Nilofer, Dennis Nilofer, and she had spent almost $300,000. And I spoke to several attorneys. They said Sharp is very powerful. You will drain all your resources, and they will still win because they have everybody backing them up because everybody is scared of Sharp. And when I was referred to an attorney, I paid him my retainer, and during my conversation, I found out he was friends with the attorneys of Sharp. So I decided that in order to help all the doctors in the world, not only in America, but even in all over the world, because a lot of doctors are facing harassment from nurses, from administration, I decided to create awareness. That if we create an awareness and we create something that's important where people will realize that we should not lose our clinical knowledge just for the sake of fear of a job. One of the doctors here said she never raised her voice because she had loans to pay. If she lost her job, she would never get a job anywhere in San Diego. And I know that that is true because whenever I have raised my voice against discrimination, I've had to resign because they don't want anybody to tell the truth to the world.
Now, this could be also seen, because I have to speak with them at some point, as retaliation.
Yes, this is definitely a retaliation because the first 4 weeks I was there, I had no problems at all. When this particular nurse, Kathy Dominguez, got fired, things changed overnight.
No, but they're going to say you're retaliating because you were...
if I was retaliating, I would ask for millions of dollars. And when I met the attorney, I told him the only thing I want out of this is that all the doctors should have the strength to say no to harassment. I want the world to be aware that doctors are being harassed. When patients complain that doctors don't give them time, it's because management wants us to see 5 to 6 patients an hour. It's not because doctors want to see 5, 6 patients an hour. Management has told us that we have to see 5 to 6 patients an hour. Management is telling us, go sit in our call room, we'll call you when we need you. So when the cesarean section rate is 35% in United States of America, it's not because doctors want to do a cesarean section, it's because nurses are taking care of the patients. Some of these nurses have only 1 year experience. I've heard personally a charge nurse tell a brand new nurse who was a first day of work, if a doctor tells you not to do anything, just go ahead and do it. Don't listen to the doctor.
There has to be some kind of oversight over nurses though, right?
Well, the oversight is administration, not doctors. And I think the doctors should oversight the nurses because doctors are the most experienced people.
Yes.
And doctors are the ones who get sued. Doctors are the ones who have to pay all the money if they get sued. But it's the doctor's name is on the chart. But most of the management in labor and delivery takes place by the nurses. In Sharp Mary Birch especially, I worked in 10 different hospitals. And there is discrimination every single place, but not to the extent that I experienced in Sharp Mary Birch.
You've never had any issues anywhere else?
I have not had issues with nurses anywhere else. I had a little bit of an issue with gender discrimination and racial discrimination with a few of the doctors at Little Company of Mary, and I brought it up. And even in that hospital, they tried to give me money to keep me quiet and tell me to leave, because the white doctors did not want to help the African-American doctors. And I stood up for it. I took my paycheck and I left. And I decided not to fight them because it was in LA and it was a long drive anyway for me. I had been planning to leave anyway. And honestly, for me, my personal feeling, it's not the doctors. I think it's greed for money. And I think it's administration problems. Doctors have greed because they have loans to pay. Doctors also are expected to have an expensive car. Doctors are expected to have an expensive house. But greed is the main driver of discrimination in the world. Greed also causes fear. That's why doctors don't want to speak up. And I don't have any greed. I use my money to serve the world.
So did you resign or did you get fired?
My suspension was...
got suspended.
I got suspended from the hospital, but I resigned from my boss. The hospital did not hire me. My bosses were Sharp Steely Medical Group. So I resigned from Sharp Steely Medical Group because they did not have any problems with me. I did not have any problems with them. In fact, my boss supported me.
Okay.
And they, in fact, told me to try to get this to work. But I had emailed the CEO of the hospital, Trisha Kalehi, and on May 15th, I did not get a reply. I emailed her again, did not get a reply. I emailed her again, and I did not get a reply. So on June 2nd, I sent her a threatening email to get a response from her. I said, why you have so much fear to come and meet me and talk to me? For me, the fear is forget everything and run away or forget everything and rise. And for me, I choose to forget everything and rise. So I was using the word fear for me, not for her. But she thought I was threatening her and I was going to kill her. So she decided to call me a terrorist and suspend me immediately in the middle of the night.
Did you use any words that you said that you're gonna kill or harm
No,
her?
I never use such words. I'm a very loving and kind person. I serve the homeless people free every month. I go to Monarch School and help the homeless kids there. I have a home there in India for human sex trafficking kids. I contribute to the money that they use to build a home for them. I give money to 3 slums in India. I go every year and serve them. I give free medications to people in America. So how can I kill anybody?
Yes. So what's your relationship right now? What's going on? Are you in communication with the administration at all? Or
no, I'm not, because I resigned, and a few days later the attorney called me for the hospital and said that she has been hired to independently investigate my allegations.
Okay.
And she wanted me to talk to her about it. I said, if I talk to you about it, will you give me a copy of your investigation report? She said, no, I will not give you my copy. I said, why will you not give me my copy? She said, I'm not allowed to. I said, why would I want to talk to you if you are not going to give me a copy of the investigation report? She says, well, you're not being cooperative. I said, I'm always cooperative. I've been cooperative since March. I've been telling since March this is going on. Nobody is doing anything about it.
Okay. How long have you been on strike so far?
I have been on strike since June 6th.
June 6th, so now it's almost 20 days?
Yes.
Wow. And are you getting any attention from media?
I have emailed the media and I have not heard much from them. The only thing I heard that Channel 5 did call Sharp, but Sharp was able to keep them quiet.
Oh.
So what I have found out from media is Sharp is extremely powerful. And so nobody wants to mess around with Sharp. So right now I'm planning, I have put in my post on LinkedIn, I have created a Facebook page called Doctors Against Corporate Slavery. I'm trying to create funding to create a documentary film about creating awareness about this issue, not only in USA but all over the world. My experience in India has been that nurses are not like this in India, because I used to be a doctor in India. My brother is a urologist in Bombay. And I know that nurses don't treat the doctors like that in India. I also am from Indonesia originally, and I go back home every year, and I have not seen nurses behave like this with doctors in Indonesia. I have my nephews who are doctors in Singapore, and the nurses don't treat them like this. I mean, how can a nurse tell a doctor, don't see your patient, come back after 15 minutes?
Yeah, I'm not...
How can a nurse tell a doctor, do not break a water bag? Who are they to tell me? Not because of ego, but I'm the one with more experience. She's my patient, my name on the chart. I have the legal responsibility, and a nurse can tell me that. If the hospital was really interested to helping me, the CEO should have replied to my email from May 15th and say, Asha, I want to meet you and let's discuss the issue. She never did. I sent her an article about physician burnout. She never responded. I sent Lindsay Perry, who is the manager of nursing, an article about bullying by nurses towards resident and interning doctors. She said, thank you, never talked to me about it. When Nurses Week came, I gave her a gift which said, throw kindness around everywhere like confetti, and which she could put her pens. And she never replied a thank you and nothing at all.
So why do you think, let me just ask this again anyway, why do you think you're the only one getting that treatment? Or you said
no, I'm not the only one. A lot of other doctors, a lot of the other female doctors are getting it. So female Caucasian doctors also are being harassed,
so
but female ethnic doctors are harassed more.
And you think it's because racism?
Because of racism and gender. They treat the male doctors beautifully. Once I was going inside my patient's room, there were 3 nurses sitting in the cubicle. They never said anything to me. The nurse of my patient said, do you need me to come in with you? I said, no, it's okay. I can go in and check the patient, say hello to her. A male doctor walks in, Dr. Safar walks in, and all the nurses, 3 nurses, not even the nurse of his patient, all the nurses woke up, stood up and said, oh, what can we do for you? And they immediately started blushing. I can give you an instance of one white doctor who is obese, who is not very good looking, but because she's in her 60s, she and this particular male doctor, who is a good looking guy, went to the reception together. There were 3 receptionists there, all the 3, and so she reached first, and they never stood up for her. She kept telling them, I want the schedule for the next day. They never paid attention to her. He reached 10 seconds later, and all the 3 receptionists woke up and told him simultaneously, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? It is very, very obvious there is definitely gender discrimination. And we see that everywhere. The gender discrimination is rampant. The racial discrimination, I have not seen the way I have seen here. It's very, very open and blunt.
Let me get you a little bit this way so you're facing. So now, what's next? What are you trying to push? So far, you haven't had any response.
I am going to come here once a week, and I'm going to try to make awareness as much as I can, because I see that the media is also scared of SHARP. So I feel that if I come here, it will be good for people to know, and they will start asking questions. It will start the conversation. I know that in the hospital itself, I have heard that things have started rolling, because even the female doctors in internal medicine are saying, yes, it's going on. It's going on, even in internal medicine. I've heard in intensive care unit, the female doctors finally are raising their voice. They're saying, yes, they're better to the male doctors. So on the level that I'm interested in, it's working. Because more female doctors are voicing their opinion, maybe not to the point like I am doing, because they're scared of losing their jobs. But at the same time, I think there is more awareness. In fact, my primary care doctor told me this week, I said, why don't you order an MRI? I think I need an MRI for my hands because they're hurting. And she says, oh, I'm not allowed by management to order an MRI because I'm a primary care doctor. So there are subtle amounts of discrimination going on. People are scared to speak up. They're scared to speak up because they lose their job. A lot of these doctors, they get harassed when they are right out of training. These female doctors who are right out of training, they usually have little kids they have to support. They have a brand new house, a mortgage to pay. They have almost $500,000 worth of loans to pay. They cannot afford to lose their job. And SHARP is very, very cunning and cruel in a way. When they make you resign, they tell you you cannot work in any SHARP facility in San Diego.
Oh, wow.
So if you lose your job at one SHARP at this hospital, no SHARP will ever employ you, because that's what they make you sign.
Okay. So are you thinking to practice, continue to practice somewhere else?
Well, right now, my focus for 1 year will be to create awareness. I am doing telemedicine right now, where I do telephone consultations, so I do have some money coming in, but money is not a priority for me. I've always been a social person. I want to help the world, even if it means money from my pocket. I want to help people. I love helping women, because women have gone through a lot of violence and a lot of discrimination. So I even go to the juvenile delinquent facility to mentor the girls there every Friday afternoon. So my life path is different, but I am looking into hoping that somebody will help me to create a documentary on harassment and gender discrimination. I really am not somebody who retaliates, because that's not my personality. I believe in God. I believe that if your seed is bad, you will have to pay for it. So my seeds have to be good, so I can get a reward by helping the world. If I wanted to retaliate, I could have retaliated in other hospitals too.
That's true.
But I didn't. I don't want to retaliate at SHARP either. I don't want money. Money that you get by retaliation is not a good money. If I make money out of it, I'll create a home for the homeless people. It will not be for me. If SHARP says today, I'll give you $3 million, I'll say, okay, let's make a home for the homeless girls. You know, that's what I would do. I wouldn't have it for me. What am I going to do? I only need 2 meals a day. I don't need a big $1 million house. So for me, if I were to make money out of this, it will be for that. But my goal is to create a documentary film about it. There will be a film coming out, a documentary film on doctor suicides. It's called Do No Harm. It will be released sometime end of this year. or early next year.
So someone is doing it already?
Somebody is doing a film on the increasing doctor depression and suicides. So 2015, there were 500 doctors who committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
We doctors have a Hippocrates oath. We are the best patient advocates. We want our patients to be successful. We want them to be happy. So for the nurses to say we are criminals because they are the patient advocates and we are really trying to harm patients is complete baloney. And so for me, that is my goal, that patients should be taken care of. In fact, yesterday we had a poll where the doctors should go on a strike. And my vote was no. If we go on strike, who will take care of the patients?
Oh, wow.
Patients did not harm us. Who harmed us are the corporations and the nurses and management. They are the ones who need to change, not the patients. Patients are coming to us because they are suffering, they are in pain. They are not coming to us because they are healthy. That's my goal, is to keep patients first.
I understand. Thank you.